Lena's hand froze on the marble counter. Julian stood so close she could feel heat radiating from his chest. One of his hands pressed against the island beside her hip, caging her in without touching her. "I have wanted a taste since the moment I saw you, Lina." His voice was low, controlled, "and I promise I'll take my time." Her pulse hammered in her throat. She couldn't look away from his hazel eyes, couldn't breathe properly with him this close, smelling like expensive cologne and something darker. This was her client, her ticket to everything she'd worked for. "Mr. Whitmore." "Julian." He didn't move back, didn't touch her, just waited. The kitchen felt too small, too warm. Her grandmother's peach cobbler cooled on the stove behind him, forgotten. She should leave, right now. She didn't move. "That feeling in your chest right now, that's exactly why you clicked. You wanted something real, something that pulls you in and doesn't let go. That's what we do here, every single day. If you're new, welcome home. Hit subscribe. Returning, thank you for coming back. Either way, you're home. Let's continue." 3 weeks earlier, Lina had stood outside the glass tower on Fifth Avenue with her knife bag slung over her shoulder, giving herself a pep talk. The doorman had looked at her twice, once at her worn Converse, once at the building directory. "Penthouse," she'd said, chin up. He'd nodded slowly, made a call, let her through. The elevator ride to the 42nd floor had taken forever. She checked her reflection in the brushed steel doors. Her natural curls were pulled back in a low bun, professional. Her chef's coat was crisp white, her own name embroidered over the pocket in navy thread. She'd saved 6 months for that coat. The portfolio tucked under her arm contained 12 menu proposals, 3 reference letters, and a dream she'd been nursing since culinary school, her own restaurant, something small, intimate, where she could cook her grandmother's recipes alongside the techniques she'd learned at Le Bernardin. She just needed this job to get there. The elevator doors opened directly into the penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Central Park. Minimalist furniture, everything white and chrome and expensive. A man stood at the windows with his back to her, phone pressed to his ear. "I don't care what Rachel wants. The lawyers can handle it. I'm done negotiating." He turned. Lina forgot what she'd planned to say. Julian Whitmore was taller than she'd expected from the Google images, broader through the shoulders. His dark hair was slightly too long, like he'd missed a haircut appointment. He wore a white dress shirt with sleeves rolled to his forearms, no tie. His hazel eyes swept over her once, then returned to her face. He ended the call without saying goodbye. "You're early." Not quite a smile, not quite not. Traffic was better than expected. That never happens in this city. He crossed the open space between them, hand extended. Julian Whitmore. His handshake was firm, brief. His palm was warm. Lina Washington. She tried not to notice the way her name sounded in his voice, like he was tasting it. Stop. Professional. "Your portfolio mentioned you trained at Le Bernardin. For 2 years. Garde-manger, then fish station. Why leave?" She'd practiced this answer. "I wanted to cook food that meant something personal. French technique is beautiful, but I grew up on my grandmother's soul food. I want to bring both worlds together." Something shifted in his expression. Interest, maybe? He gestured toward the kitchen. "Show me." The kitchen was a chef's dream. Wolf range, sub-zero fridge, marble counters that went on forever. She set her knife bag down, pulled out her portfolio. "I prepared 3 sample menus based on the brief your assistant sent. The first focuses on—" "I don't want to look at menus." He leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "I want you to cook something right now. Whatever you want." Her stomach dropped. "I didn't bring ingredients. This food in the fridge. Pantry stocked. Surprise me." This wasn't how interviews worked, but the way he watched her, patient and curious, she found herself opening the massive refrigerator. Chicken thighs, heavy cream, fresh thyme, garlic. She could work with this. 20 minutes later, she plated pan-seared chicken thighs with a garlic cream sauce, roasted Brussels sprouts with crispy pancetta, and a piece of her grandmother's cornbread she'd brought as a backup. Julian sat at the island, didn't touch his phone, didn't look away from her hands as she worked. When she placed the dish in front of him, he studied it for a long moment, then cut into the chicken, tasted. His eyes closed. Lina held her breath. "This is..." He took another bite. "Tell me about the cornbread." "My grandmother's recipe. She taught me when I was 8. You have to use a cast-iron skillet, and the butter has to be... Can you make it sweeter?" She blinked. Most people praised her cornbread. "I could, but it's meant to balance savory dishes. If it's too sweet..." "No." He smiled for the first time. It changed his whole face. "You're right. Don't change it." He finished everything on the plate. "When can you start?" Her heart jumped. "You're offering me the position?" "Unless you're turning it down." "I'm not." I tried to sound professional, not desperate. "What are the exact terms?" "Dinner's 6 nights a week. Whatever you want to cook. I'll handle groceries, you handle menus. 50,000 for 6 months, renegotiable after that." 50,000. She could save half, put it toward a lease, equipment, her restaurant. "I'll take it." "Good." He stood, extended his hand again. This time when she shook it, he held on a second longer than necessary. "I should warn you, I'm not an easy client. I've worked in professional kitchens for 10 years, Mr. Whitmore. I can handle difficult." "Julian," he corrected. "And we'll see." Over the next 2 weeks, Lina learned Julian Whitmore's rhythms. He worked from home most days, disappearing into his office for hours. He took calls in French, Mandarin, and angry English. He drank black coffee until noon, then switched to sparkling water. He was quiet, observant. He noticed everything: when she used a new spice, when she was testing a recipe, when she was tired. And he actually ate her food. Not like her previous clients who'd picked at meals while scrolling through phones. Julian sat down, put his phone face down, tasted everything slowly. "This macaroni and cheese," he said one evening, fork paused halfway to his mouth. "It's different. 3 cheese blend, sharp cheddar, Gruyere, Fontina. My grandmother always said you need at least 3. It's perfect." He took another bite, then another. "Tell me about her." Lina paused, wooden spoon halfway to the pot. Clients didn't usually ask personal questions. "She raised me. South Carolina originally, moved to Brooklyn when I was 10. She worked 3 jobs but always cooked Sunday dinner. Said feeding people was how you showed love." "Smart woman." She was. Past tense still hurt. "She died 2 years ago, right before I started the restaurant." "What restaurant?" "The one I'm going to open." She said it confidently, even though her savings account disagreed. "Small, 40 seats, Southern food with French technique." "Where?" "Brooklyn. Somewhere in Bed-Stuy or Crown Heights. Gentrifying neighborhoods, diverse crowds, appreciation for good food." "Have you secured financing?" "Not yet. I'm saving for the initial investment, once I have enough for first month's rent and basic equipment." "That's not how you should do it." She turned fully to face him. "I'm sorry?" "You need at least 18 months of operating capital before you open. Permits, staff, marketing, inventory. You'll hemorrhage money the first year." "I know that." Her voice came out sharper than intended. "I've done the research." "But you don't have investors." "I'll figure it out." He watched her for a long moment, then returned to his food. "This is the best meal I've had in 5 years." The compliment settled warm in her chest. Dangerous. The evening he said the thing, Lina had been experimenting. Peach cobbler, her grandmother's recipe, but she'd added cardamom and vanilla bean to the filling. She'd pulled it from the oven at 8:30, the crust golden and bubbling. Julian emerged from his office at 9. "You're still here." He looked surprised. She usually left by 8. "Testing a dessert. I can go." "Stay." He crossed to the kitchen. "What is it?" "Peach cobbler, my grandmother's. I modified it slightly." "Let me taste." She served him a bowl, vanilla ice cream melting into the warm peaches, watched his face as he took the first bite. His eyes closed again, that same expression, something between pleasure and pain. "Lina." The way he said her name made her pulse quicken. "This is—" He set the spoon down, stood, walked around the island toward her. She should move, put distance between them, professional boundaries. But her feet stayed planted. He stopped close, too close, one hand braced on the counter beside her hip. "I have wanted a taste since the moment I saw you, Lina." His voice dropped low, intimate. "And I promise I'll take my time." Her breath caught. Heat flooded her face, her chest lower. "Mr. Whitmore." Julian. She couldn't think with him this close, couldn't remember why this was a bad idea. "This isn't appropriate." "I know." He didn't move back. "Tell me you don't feel this." She could lie, should lie. "I need this job." "I'm not threatening your job." His gaze dropped to her mouth, then back to her eyes. "I'm telling you what I want, what I've wanted since you walked into my home and talked about your grandmother's recipes like they were scripture. I can't—" "I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm just being honest." He finally stepped back, giving her space to breathe. "But if you ever change your mind, you know where to find me." He left the kitchen. Lina stood there for 5 full minutes, heart racing before she could move. She was in so much trouble. Lina didn't sleep that night. She lay in her studio apartment in Crown Heights, staring at the ceiling, replaying the moment. His voice, the heat in his eyes, the way her body had betrayed every professional instinct she'd ever had. "I have wanted a taste since the moment I saw you." She pressed her palms against her face. This was exactly how people lost good opportunities, getting involved with clients, crossing lines. She'd seen it happen to other chefs, reputations destroyed, careers derailed. But when she closed her eyes, she could still feel the warmth of him standing close. She almost called the agency the next morning, almost quit. Instead, she showed up at his penthouse at 5:30 with ingredients for coq au vin. Julian was on a video call when she arrived. He glanced up, held her gaze for 3 seconds too long, then returned to his screen. Lina exhaled, unpacked groceries, focused on mise en place, dicing carrots, portioning flour, separating thyme leaves from stems. Familiar movements. Safe. An hour later, he emerged from his office. "Smells good. It'll be ready in 40 minutes. She didn't look up from the Dutch oven. Silence. She could feel him watching. "Lina, don't." She gripped the wooden spoon tighter. "Please don't." "I wasn't going to—" "Good." She finally met his eyes. "Because I need this job, and I'm not going to mess it up because—" She stopped, couldn't finish the sentence. His jaw tightened. "I understand." He disappeared back into his office. Lina's hands shook as she stirred the sauce. Over the next 2 weeks, they were careful. Julian kept conversation professional, asked about recipes, complimented her cooking, discussed groceries, never stood too close, never said her name the way he had that night. Lina should have been relieved. Instead, she felt the absence of him like a physical ache. She caught herself watching him when he wasn't looking, the way he rolled his sleeves, the way he tilted his head when he was thinking, the small smile when he tasted something he particularly loved. One evening, while she plated braised short ribs, her phone buzzed. Her best friend Maya's name lit the screen. "Girl, you've been MIA for weeks. Drinks this weekend?" Lina typed back quickly. "Working. Rain check?" "You're always working. When do I get to meet this mysterious client?" Never, Lina thought. She pocketed her phone. "Everything okay?" Julian asked from the dining table. "Fine, just a friend." "You should go out. You work too much." Says the man who works 16-hour days. He smiled. Actually smiled. Touché. Something shifted in the air, lighter, easier. "Can I ask you something?" Lina set his plate down. "Always. Why did you really hire me? You could have anyone. Michelin-trained chefs would line up for this position." Julian cut into the short rib, chewed thoughtfully. "You want the honest answer?" "Always. Your portfolio was good. Your technique is excellent. But the real reason?" He met her eyes. You talked about your grandmother like she was a religion, like cooking was how you made sense of the world. That's rare." Her throat tightened. "Most people I meet want something from me. Money, connections, access. You just wanted to cook. That's all I've wanted from people for years. Authenticity." He paused. "I haven't had that in a long time." "What about your ex-wife?" The question slipped out before she could stop it. His expression shuddered. "Rachel wanted a lot of things. I wasn't one of them. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. It's fine." He took a long drink of water. "We were married for 8 years, divorced for 1. She's engaged to someone else now, a photographer she met at a gallery opening while we were still married." Lina's chest constricted. "That's awful." "It was a long time coming." He pushed food around his plate. "I worked too much. She said I was emotionally unavailable. She wasn't wrong." "That doesn't excuse cheating." "No." He looked up. "It doesn't." The vulnerability in his face made her want to reach across the table, touch his hand, tell him he deserved better. Instead, she cleared her throat. "I should start on dessert." "Lina." He caught her wrist as she reached for his plate. Gentle. His thumb pressed against her pulse point. "Thank you." "For what?" "Listening, not judging." Her heart hammered against her ribs. His hand was warm, solid. She should pull away. She didn't. "You're not hard to listen to," she said quietly. His thumb stroked once across her wrist. Then he let go. She retreated to the kitchen, pulse racing. The following week, Julian's sister came to dinner. "She's visiting from Boston," he'd mentioned that morning. "I know it's last minute, but could you make enough for 3? "Of course." Lina prepared her grandmother's fried chicken, collard greens with smoked turkey, candied yams, and cornbread. Comfort food, the kind that made people lean back in their chairs and close their eyes. Caroline Whitmore arrived at 7:30, tall, blonde, sharply dressed in a navy pantsuit. Her handshake was firm. "You must be the chef Julian won't shut up about." Lina blinked. "He talks about me?" "Constantly. You should taste Lina's mac and cheese. Lina makes this thing with peaches. It's annoying, honestly." But Caroline smiled. Warm, genuine. Julian appeared, cheeks slightly flushed. "Caroline exaggerates." "I absolutely do not," Caroline said, settling at the dining table. "So, Lina, tell me everything. Where did you train? What's your dream? Why are you wasting your talent on my emotionally constipated brother?" "Caroline." "She's not wrong, though." Lina felt him step closer. Not touching, just close. "About what?" She turned. He was right there, close enough that she had to tilt her head to meet his eyes. "You could have any chef, but you keep me here. Why?" His gaze dropped to her mouth, back to her eyes. "You know why." Her breath caught. "Julian." "I know. Professional boundaries, your job, your restaurant." His voice was rough. "I'm not going to touch you unless you ask me to. But don't pretend you don't feel this too." "I can't." "Yes, you can." He stepped back, gave her space. "But I'll wait until you're ready." He left the kitchen. Lina gripped the counter, legs shaking. This was getting dangerous. The next morning, Lina arrived to find an envelope on the kitchen counter. Inside, a check for $50,000. The note read, "Not an investment, not charity, a bonus for 2 months of the best meals I've had in my life. You've earned this. Use it however you want. Jay." Her hands trembled. $50,000. Added to her savings, she'd have almost $100,000, halfway to her dream. She should return it, should tell him this was inappropriate. Instead, she pulled out her phone and called the real estate agent she'd been talking to for months. "I'm ready to look at spaces," she said. Maybe she could have both, the job, the dream, and maybe, if she was brave enough, something more. But that same afternoon, her phone rang. Unknown number. "Is this Lina Washington?" "Yes." "This is Rachel Whitmore, Julian's ex-wife. I think we need to talk." Lina's blood went cold. If you're feeling this story, hype it so others can find it. Comment where you're watching from. Now back to the story. Rachel Whitmore suggested a coffee shop in Soho, neutral territory. Lina almost didn't go, almost blocked the number and pretended the call never happened. But curiosity and something darker, something that felt like dread, pulled her downtown on her day off. Rachel was already seated when Lina arrived, blonde, polished, the kind of beauty that came with money and maintenance. She wore a cream-colored cashmere sweater and held a latte with perfectly foamed milk. She smiled when Lina approached. It didn't reach her eyes. "Thank you for meeting me," Rachel gestured to the seat across from her. "I wasn't sure you would." Lina sat, spine straight. "What do you want?" "Direct. I like that." She took a delicate sip. "Julian mentioned you were refreshingly honest." "He talks to you about me?" "Oh, honey, we still talk every week. Lawyers, shared assets, you know how it is." She tilted her head. "Or maybe you don't." Lina's jaw tightened. "What do you want, Rachel?" "I want to help you." Rachel leaned forward, voice softened. "I know what it's like to care about Julian. He's charming, attentive when he wants to be, makes you feel like you're the only person in the room." Lina said nothing. "But here's what he doesn't tell you. He's incapable of real intimacy. He'll pursue you, make you feel special, then disappear into his work the moment things get real. Ask me how I know." "You cheated on him?" Rachel's smile turned sharp. "Is that what he told you?" "He said you met someone else while you were still married." "Did he tell you I begged him to go to therapy, that I spent 3 years eating dinner alone while he worked until midnight?" Rachel's voice cracked slightly. "Did he tell you he forgot our anniversary 2 years in a row, that he missed my father's funeral because of a board meeting?" Lina's chest tightened. She didn't want to feel sympathy for this woman, didn't want to believe her. "I made a mistake," she said quietly. "I won't deny that. But Julian isn't innocent. He's emotionally unavailable. He'll break your heart the same way he broke mine." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I saw the way he looked at you." Lina's pulse stuttered. "What?" "Last week, I stopped by to pick up some documents. You were leaving just as I arrived. The way he watched you walk to the elevator?" Rachel's expression softened. "I've never seen him look at anyone like that, not even me." The confession hung between them. "So why warn me?" Lina asked. "Because you seem nice, and because—" Rachel hesitated. "Because I don't want him to ruin someone else the way he ruined me. Whatever you think is happening between you two, it won't end well. Julian doesn't change. He doesn't let people in. You'll just be another person he disappoints." Rachel stood, leaving a business card on the table. "If you need anything, a reference, a recommendation, help finding another position, call me. Get out before it's too late." She left without looking back. Lina sat there for 20 minutes, staring at the business card. Rachel Whitmore, art consultant. Her phone buzzed. "Julian, dinner tonight? I'm craving your fried catfish." Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She thought about his hand on her wrist, the vulnerability in his voice when he talked about his failed marriage, the check for $50,000. She thought about Rachel's words, "He'll break your heart the same way he broke mine." Lina typed, "Can't tonight, family thing." It was a lie. She had no family left except distant cousins she barely spoke to. She turned off her phone and went home. For 3 days, Lina made excuses. Food poisoning, migraine, emergency with her apartment's plumbing. Julian didn't push, just responded with short, polite messages. "Feel better. No rush. Let me know if you need anything." The space should have brought clarity. Instead, she felt hollow. On the 4th day, Maya showed up at her apartment unannounced. "Okay, what's wrong?" Maya dropped a bag of takeout on the counter. "You've been ghosting me for weeks, and now you won't even leave your apartment?" Lina had known Maya since culinary school. They'd survived impossible shifts together, cried over burned sauces, celebrated first promotions with cheap wine. She couldn't lie to Maya. "I think I'm falling for a client." Maya's eyebrows shot up. "The billionaire? I never said he was a billionaire." "You didn't have to. Penthouse on Fifth Avenue? Please." Maya opened containers of Thai food. "So what's the problem? Is he married?" "Divorced." "Into you?" "Yes." "Then what's stopping you?" Lina told her about Rachel, about the warnings, about feeling like she was standing at the edge of something that would either save her or destroy her. Maya listened without interrupting. Then she pointed her fork at Lina. "Do you trust him?" "I don't know." "Wrong question. Do you trust yourself?" Lina froze. "Because here's the thing," Maya continued. "Rachel had her experience. You'll have yours. Maybe he's learned something. Maybe he hasn't, but you can't live your life based on someone else's fear. What if she's right? What if I get hurt? Then you get hurt, but at least you'll know." Maya squeezed her hand. "You've been playing it safe your whole life, Lina, working twice as hard for half the recognition, staying in your lane. When are you going to take something just because you want it?" Lina's throat burned. "He gave me $50,000. "I'm sorry, what?" "As a bonus for 2 months of cooking." Maya stared. "Girl, he's in love with you." "That's ridiculous. Men don't give away $50,000 unless they're serious. Trust me." Maya grinned. "So, what are you going to do?" Lina looked at her phone. 7 unread messages from Julian. All patient, all kind. The most recent: "I miss your cooking. But more than that, I miss talking to you. Whatever I did wrong, I'm sorry. Just tell me how to fix it." Her chest ached. "I'm going to talk to him," she said finally. "Good, because if you don't, I will, and I'll tell him you've been moping around like a Jane Austen character for 4 days. Despite everything, Lina laughed. She showed up at Julian's penthouse at 6 o'clock. He opened the door looking exhausted. His hair was messy, like he'd been running his hands through it. He wore a t-shirt and sweatpants, the most casual she'd ever seen him. "Lina," relief flooded his face. "Are you okay? I've been worried. Your ex-wife called me." His expression shifted, hardened. "What?" "She warned me about you, said you'd break my heart, that you're emotionally unavailable." Julian stepped back, jaw clenched. "And you believed her?" "I don't know what to believe." Lina's voice cracked. "I barely know you, Julian. We've shared meals and conversations, but I don't know if this is real or if I'm just..." "Just what?" "Another distraction. Something to fill the space your ex-wife left." The words landed like a slap. Julian's face went pale, then red. "Is that really what you think of me?" "I don't know what to think. You gave me $50,000 because you earned it. And you look at me like I'm... She couldn't finish. "Like you're what?" He stepped closer, voice raw. "Like the first person in years who's made me feel something other than empty? Like I'd rather sit in my kitchen watching you cook than close another $1 million deal? Like I'm terrified you'll realize you deserve better and leave." Lina's breath caught. "Rachel is right about some things," Julian continued, voice shaking. "I worked too much. I was a terrible husband. I buried myself in spreadsheets instead of dealing with my feelings." He ran a hand through his hair. "But she cheated because she wanted to, not because I forced her to. And I've spent the last year in therapy, trying to figure out why I keep everyone at arm's length." "You're in therapy?" "Twice a week." He laughed bitterly. "Trying to be someone worth trusting. But apparently I'm still failing." Tears burned Lina's eyes. "I didn't come here to hurt you." "Then why did you come?" "Because I'm scared. I'm scared of losing my dream. I'm scared of wanting you this much. I'm scared that if I let myself fall, you won't catch me."
Julian closed the distance between them, cupped her face in both hands. "I'm terrified too," he whispered, "but I'm not going anywhere, and I won't let you fall." "How can you promise that?" "I can't." His thumb brushed away a tear. "But I can promise I'll try, every single day, if you'll let me." Lina's hands came up to cover his. What if this ruins everything? What if it doesn't? She looked into his hazel eyes and saw the same fear reflected back, the same desperate hope. I need you to understand something, she said quietly. My restaurant isn't negotiable. It's not a hobby. It's who I am. I know. And I won't let anyone, not even you, make me small. I would never ask you to. His forehead pressed against hers. I want to see you build your empire. I want to be there opening night. His voice cracked. I just want to be part of your life, however you'll have me. Lina's walls crumbled. She kissed him. It wasn't gentle, it was desperate, hungry, months of tension breaking like a dam. His hands slid into her hair, her fingers gripped his shirt. They stumbled backward until her spine hit the door. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Julian rested his forehead against hers. Stay, he whispered, not as my employee, as what? As mine. The possessiveness should have scared her. Instead, it felt like coming home. Okay, she breathed. Okay? Yes. He kissed her again, slower this time, like he had all the time in the world, like he'd been waiting his whole life for this moment.
They didn't talk about what came next, not that night. Instead, Julian ordered pizza because Lina refused to cook. I'm off duty, she'd said, laughing against his mouth. They ate on the couch, her feet tucked under his thigh, and talked about everything except the terrifying thing they'd just started. She told him about growing up in South Carolina, about her grandmother teaching her to make biscuits at 5 a.m, flour dusting everything, about moving to Brooklyn and feeling lost until she found cooking. He told her about building his first company at 23, about the pressure of family expectations, about his father who'd never said, "I'm proud of you," but left him a business empire anyway. Do you miss him? Lina asked. Every day, even though he was impossible. Julian's thumb traced circles on her ankle. He would have liked you, though. He respected people who worked hard. Would he have approved of this? Julian met her eyes. I stopped living for his approval a long time ago. Around midnight, Lina's phone buzzed. Maya. Did you talk to him? Lina typed back, yes. And? We're figuring it out. Girl, details. Tomorrow, brunch, non-negotiable. Lina smiled, set her phone down. Everything okay? Julian asked. My best friend demanding brunch details. What are you going to tell her? Lina looked at him, really looked. His hair messy from her hands, his eyes soft, the careful hope in his expression. The truth? That I'm terrified and doing it anyway. He pulled her closer. That makes 2 of us. The next morning, Lina woke up in Julian's guest room. He'd insisted, despite her protests, that she could go home. Stay, he'd said simply. I'll make you breakfast. She laughed. You don't cook. I can scramble eggs, probably. Now, wearing one of his t-shirts, she found him in the kitchen burning toast. Okay, off-duty is officially over. She hip-checked him away from the stove. You were set off the smoke alarm. I had it under control. You absolutely did not. He wrapped his arms around her waist from behind, chin on her shoulder. I like having you here in the morning. Her heart squeezed. Julian, I know, we need to talk about logistics. Your job, professional boundaries, how this works. He turned her to face him. But first, I need to say something. She waited. I meant what I said last night, about wanting to invest in your restaurant. Julian, I can't take your money. Not a gift, a real investment. Equity stake, legal partnership. I'd be a silent partner, you'd have full creative control. But I want to help you build this. Lina's throat tightened. Why? Because you're brilliant. Because I believe in you. And because... He hesitated. Because I want to be part of your dream, not separate from it. Tears burned her eyes. That's not fair. What's not fair? Saying things like that, making me want things I was too scared to ask for. Julian cupped her face. Ask for them anyway. I want my restaurant. 40 seats, my grandmother's recipes, my name on the door. Done. I want you, but not as my boss. As my... She couldn't say the word. Partner. he finished. In everything. She nodded, not trusting her voice. Then let's do this right, Julian said. No more employer-employee relationship. We'll find you a proper restaurant space, draw up real investment papers, and I'll spend every day proving I'm worth the risk you're taking. What about Rachel? His jaw tightened. What about her? She'll find out. She'll say things. Let her. His voice was firm. I spent 8 years caring what Rachel thought. I'm done. The only opinion that matters now is yours. Lina kissed him. Soft, sure. Okay, she whispered. Let's do this. 3 months later, Lina stood in front of a brick storefront in Bed-Stuy. The space was perfect. Exposed brick walls, original tin ceiling, room for 40 seats, just like she'd imagined. Large windows facing the street, a kitchen that made her chest ache with possibility. What do you think? The real estate agent hovered nearby. Lina couldn't speak. She walked through the empty dining room, fingers trailing over dusty windowsills, pictured tables with white cloths, the smell of cornbread and braised greens, people laughing, eating, feeling loved through food. Julian stood near the entrance, giving her space. He'd been doing that a lot lately, stepping back when she needed room to dream, stepping forward when she needed support. It's perfect, Lina said finally. The beam beamed. Wonderful, I'll draw up the papers. Wait, Lina turned to Julian. Are you sure about this? They'd spent weeks negotiating. He'd offered $200,000. She'd insisted on a lower amount, $150,000, at a smaller equity stake. He'd argued, she'd held firm. They'd compromised at $175,000 with a 30% stake that would decrease to 20% after 5 years if the restaurant hit certain benchmarks. Maya had called her insane for giving up any equity. Julian's lawyer had called him insane for accepting such unfavorable terms. But it felt right, equal, like a real partnership. I've never been more sure of anything, Julian said. Lina signed the lease that afternoon. Opening night was chaos. The kitchen was too hot, 2 servers called out sick, the reservation system crashed. Lina's signature peach cobbler nearly burned because the oven ran hotter than expected. But at 7 o'clock, when the first customers walked through the door, everything fell into place. Maya was there, seated at the best table with her girlfriend. Caroline flew in from Boston. Even Julian's business partner, a venture capitalist named Chen, who terrified most people, showed up with his wife. Julian sat at the bar, staying out of the way, but close enough that Lina could see him when she peeked out from the kitchen. Every time their eyes met, he smiled, proud, steady. At 9:30, during a brief lull, Lina stepped out to greet tables. An older black woman at table 6 touched her hand. "Baby, this mac and cheese tastes just like my mama's. What's your secret?" 3 cheeses, Lina said, throat tight, "and you have to make it with love." "That's what my mama always said," the woman's eyes misted. "Bless you for keeping that alive." Lina had to step back into the kitchen before she cried. At midnight, after the last customer left and the staff finished cleaning, Lina collapsed onto a chair in the empty dining room. Julian sat beside her, handed her a glass of champagne. "You did it," he said quietly. "We did it." "No," he turned to face her. "This is all you. Your vision, your talent, your grandmother's legacy. I just got to watch." Lina leaned her head on his shoulder, exhausted and happy and terrified and hopeful all at once. "Thank you," Lina whispered, "for believing in me even when I didn't believe in myself." "Always." He pressed a kiss to her temple. "So, what's next?" "Next?" "For the restaurant. For us." Lina thought about her grandmother, about every no she'd received over the years, every closed door, every person who'd underestimated her. She thought about Julian, broken and healing and trying, about choosing each other every day despite the fear. Next, we keep going. We build something beautiful. We mess up sometimes. We figure it out together. I can work with that? She lifted her head to look at him. "I love you." It was the first time she'd said it. Julian's breath caught. "Say it again." "I love you, Julian Whitmore. Even though you can't cook, even though you work too much, even though you're still figuring yourself out." "I love you too." He kissed her softly. "And I promise I'll take my time. With you, with us, for as long as you'll let me." Lina smiled against his mouth. "That might be a very long time." "Good."
They sat in her restaurant, until 2 in the morning, making plans and sharing dreams and believing for the first time that they might actually make it.
1 year later, Lina's opened a second location. Julian proposed in the original Bed-Stuy restaurant on a Tuesday night after service, getting down on one knee in the kitchen where she'd first learned to trust him. She said yes before he finished asking. Maya cried. Caroline flew in to celebrate. Even Rachel sent a card, short, polite, gracious. And every Sunday, Lina made her grandmother's recipes for whoever needed feeding. Because that's what love was. Showing up, trying, building something that lasted. Taking your time. What would you rate this story? Drop 0 to 10 in the comments right now. If this story moved you, hit subscribe for more emotional journeys every day. And if it truly touched your heart, consider leaving a super thanks. Your support helps us create more stories like this. Every contribution, big or small, means the world. Ready for the next story? It's even more dramatic than this one. Click now. Thank you for being part of this journey.